This is going to be, as the title says and suggests, an idiot-proof guide to getting an aesthetic physique. So what does that mean, right? It's going to be simple, with no bullshit. More than likely, it's going to be more extreme compared to what you may have watched and consumed on other social media platforms, whether that be YouTube or TikTok or whatever. So it's more than likely it's going to be more extreme than any balanced fitness person is going to tell you, because we're going for an idiot proof, right? If you stick to it, you get it. There's little nuisance. It's a simple, straightforward, no bullshit plan. That is what I'm presenting here in this video today. And I present an extreme version because more than likely, you've gone on YouTube, you've watched a bunch of videos, you maybe implemented some things, but it doesn't work for you. You've tried so many things, You've tried being balanced. You've tried everything that allows you to keep old parts of yourself alive. You've tried diets, you've tried plans where, you're allowed to, eat out once a week. You're allowed to have a cheat meal. You're allowed to eat foods that aren't good for you. You've tried doing that, and you failed. And so perhaps it's time to try something more extreme. A caveat to this video is that if you are lazy, right, if you don't want to put in the work, this is not going to work for you. And it would do you a benefit to just stop watching the video, because if you're not going to put in the work, if you're lazy, if you're not going to do it, if you're not going to follow it, there's no point in watching the video. Just click off the video. There's no point in listening to what I'm going to say, what I'm going to tell, what I'm going to teach to you if you aren't going to follow it all the way. Now, if you miss a couple days, right, on the entire thing, that's fine. But if you are thinking that this is going to be easy, I don't need to put that much effort into it, click away. If you think you'll use this later on, sure, save it to your watch later list. But if you are in the mindset that you can be lazy and not put in work with this, please don't watch this. Now, with that out of the way, there's going to be 3 pillars that I'm going to be talking about in this video, of which, well, given that they're pillars, they literally make up the plan, right? So these 3 things are the most important things that you want to get down if your goal is to get an aesthetic physique. So before getting into the 3 pillars, to begin, I'm assuming that you're fat, right? At least that is what I have the most experience with. I was the typical skinny fat kid, and so I have the most experience dealing with transforming your physique from a skinny fat type of physique into a muscular, attractive, aesthetic physique. On the flip side, if you're skinny, I would say the execution, the planning from skinny to more aesthetic is much easier. The actual doing part, though, is harder. And so going to the first pillar. The first pillar is essentially nutrition. So what accounts for this pillar is basically, if you're fat, you need to lose the weight. You need to lose the fat. That's the fundamental part of having an aesthetic physique. You can't have an aesthetic physique if you're fat. It's an oxymoron. You just can't do it. No matter what the fat acceptance community says, you're not attractive if you're fat. You're not. Now, obviously, there's also a point where, you're too skinny. And it's at that point, okay, you're probably also not that attractive, right? So there's a sweet spot that you want to get. And that sweet spot is where people will be their most physically appealing, which is, of course, what do you want to get? And so, to lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. You have to eat less calories than your body burns, so that your body burns fat as energy instead. If you aren't losing weight on a week-to-week basis, you aren't doing it right. If you aren't losing weight from week to week, you're not in a calorie deficit. Alright? You're just not. And I've certainly have so many experiences where I thought I was in a calorie deficit, but I wasn't losing the weight. I was just like, okay, I'm doing everything right, but no, I wasn't. And if you're in that same scenario, you aren't doing the right thing, or you aren't doing it correctly. You are protecting your ego. You're protecting your ego in hopes that you aren't wrong, but you are wrong. You need to correct that. If you are not losing weight, you simply need to eat less. You just need to eat less calories. That is a fundamental part of the universe, the laws of thermodynamics. If you aren't eating enough, your body needs to get energy from somewhere else. And if you are eating enough, your body doesn't need to get energy from anywhere else. So you need to be in a calorie deficit. So more importantly, what do you eat? Because there's so many people online who are like, as long as it fits your calories, as long as it fits your macros. But it's never as simple as that. You can live in this dreamland and hope that, as long as it fits my macros, I can eat cheeseburgers, I can eat chocolate, I can eat all this good stuff, cheesecake, cake, ice cream, everything. I'm telling you right now, that's bullshit. You are not going to get an aesthetic physique doing that. You have to be more extreme. So, you want to get an aesthetic physique? Cut out everything processed. Do not eat anything processed. Only eat whole foods that you cook. Right? Cut the bullshit. Everything out. Everything out. You want to get an aesthetic physique? You do this. Right? If you truly want this, if you want to put in the work, you will do this. Because by eating whole foods, it facilitates better fat loss. Simply by eating more whole foods, you feel fuller. There's less processing, so there's less nutrients that are stripped from the foods. You feel fuller. You feel less hungry eating a whole foods diet. It's so much better than eating processed shit. And secondly, you just look better. So many people have found that when they eat clean, their skin clears up. It's no wonder, right? Because you put less shit in your body, so you look less shit. Eat clean, and your face will clear up. Your skin will be clearer. You'll feel cleaner. So cut that shit. Other than that, you want to eat lots of non-white vegetables. I say non-white basically because you want to eat a lot of your vegetables that aren't starches. Right, I love potatoes. I love potatoes. But the vegetables, the broccoli, the carrots, the onions, the mushrooms, the Brussels sprouts, the asparagus, all those are so good for you, especially for your skin and for fat loss, right? Because they have lots of fiber, and fiber keeps you full. And you also want to get animal proteins, a lot of animal proteins. These are the two categories that you want to maximize: fibrous vegetables and animal proteins, because these two will keep you full the most. Right? These are the most important. It's why bodybuilders, when they're in a contest prep, when they're trying to shred down, they eat mostly vegetables and protein. That's pretty much it. And that's what they basically only eat. Those are the two things that are the most helpful when they're starving all the time. And you probably won't be starving all the time, but these will help you so much more than eating loads of rice, loads of potatoes. And if you're vegan, if you don't eat animal products, if you don't eat animal meat, I highly suggest to supplement with a vegan protein powder. Right? You want to get protein in your diet because protein helps you be full, and it also helps you facilitate muscle growth, which we'll talk about later. Something that I've recently done is intermittent fasting, and I found it to be so helpful, just restricting when I eat. So currently I'm doing a 18-hour fast per day. Some days, or once a week, I'll do a 24-hour fast. But overall, I found that just limiting the time when I eat, I'm dropping weight so fast. This is kind of crazy. Holy shit. The first week when I was cutting, my highest weight was at 169, and this was with plenty of water retention. And just today I weighed in at 151. and there's like 5 weeks in between, right? So 169 to 151, that's 18 pounds. And surely, and even if we were to estimate that half of the weight was water retention, right? I would have lost 10 pounds in 5 weeks, which is roughly a 1,000 calorie deficit. And I've never done a 1,000 calorie deficit per day so effortlessly. So I tell you now, intermittently fast when you are losing weight, because it's helped me and I think it will help you so much more. Right, so what you want to do is you want to get on a 6 to 8 hour eating window. And so basically what this means is that, let's say you start eating at 12 p.m. Right, at noon. For a 6 hour window, you would finish eating at 6 p.m. For an 8 hour window, you would finish eating at 8 p.m. Right? It's really simple. Simple as that. The end of the hour or the end of the period does not mean that's the last hour you get to eat. Right? It doesn't mean that, if I'm on an 8 hour window and I start eating at 12, I can start dinner at 8 p.m. No. It means that I finish eating by 8 p.m. That's what it means. And so all of that was for those of you who are fat, or who are more fatter than they like to be. For those who are not fat or no longer fat, what you want to do is you want to be in a lean bulk. Right? A lean bulk is basically a slight calorie surplus. This is like a 100 to 200 calorie surplus. Right? That's very small, it's pretty small. It's just enough to get you in the surplus so that you can basically gain weight over time, slowly. And so 200 calories basically is like, one banana, like 1 extra protein shake, 2 extra apples. It's pretty small. Like, you just add that on top of what you're already eating at maintenance, and you're golden. And so concluding this nutritional pillar, when you're fat, you can lose weight and also build muscle. If you're not fat, just go on a lean bulk, and you'll gain muscle, right? And so getting to that building muscle part, of course, you need to build muscle, right? If you want an aesthetic physique, you have to build muscle. It's basically required. Like, you just absolutely have to build muscle. It's like, there's no contention. Like, you can't contend against it. Like, you want to get an aesthetic physique, you have to build muscle. Right? It's what it is. And so, just go to the gym. Going to the gym is the simplest option available. You need to know the least. What you want to do, especially in the gym, is you want to pursue progressive overload. And basically what progressive overload means is literally you just get stronger over time. That's what progressive overload means. Like, you start lifting, let's say you start bench pressing like 95 pounds, right? As you start, you better not be at the same 95 pounds in a month if you're just starting out lifting. Right? You better not stay at 95. You better be at something higher than that. And so progressive overload is basically just getting better, using more weight, being stronger, essentially. Just getting stronger over time. That's the fundamental basis of progressive overload. And so there are key muscles that you want to work, and you want to train them, and there's going to be a hierarchy. The most aesthetically pleasing muscle is, of course, the abs, right? You want to have an aesthetically pleasing physique, you get visible abs. Like, it's as simple as that, right? If you're skinny, people say you're more attractive because you have abs. If you're big, if you have abs, you are even more attractive. Having abs is just the most important thing if you want to be physically appealing. And the thing is, abs are not made in the kitchen. The abs, the abdominals, are a muscle like any other muscle. They are made bigger. They are made in the gym. They are, however, revealed in the kitchen. Right? If you're too fat to have visible abs, you need to lose the fat in order to see them. But by training your abs, you allow your abs to pop out more, so you can potentially lose less fat and still be able to see your abs, right? And if you lose enough fat and you build your abs, they'll pop out even better. They'll look even better. So you want to do both. You want to lose the fat if you're fat, and you want to build your abs. So for all these muscles, I'm only going to specify what muscles you want to build. I'm not going to specify any exercises. You're smart. You can look up online which exercises are the best for each muscle group. Jeff Nippard, Renaissance periodization, etc., etc., etc. You can look it up online. All right. I don't need to tell you that. Anyway, the next muscle group is your neck. The neck is such an underrated muscle group, and if you don't train it, and if you have an aesthetic physique, like down here, but you don't train your neck, you're gonna look very weird. Like, I'll throw some pictures up, but like, your neck is always out there. Like, my neck is always exposed. If I'm wearing a t-shirt, if I'm wearing a shirt, it's always going to be exposed. Everyone's always going to be able to see your neck. And if your neck is not built, that something says something, alright? So train your neck. The third is your arms, right? Your arms, just like your neck, are pretty much always going to be out, at least during the summertime, right? Summertime, you wear t-shirts, your arms are going to be out. And this includes the forearms. You don't train your biceps, your triceps, and your forearms. Right? You don't train all three of those. The fourth in priority are your shoulders. Your shoulders give you a better V-taper, right? The V-taper is basically looking at your shoulder to waist ratio, right? The wider your shoulders are, the better your V-taper is, basically, right? So you want to train specifically your lateral delts, your side shoulders, right? You want to do some lateral raises and whatnot, but you want to train your shoulders so that you can get a better V-taper. And so finally, there's your chest and back. Your chest and back will add to your physique, but they are less important in the hierarchy, right? And I am dismissing legs because, honestly, if you're training just to get an aesthetic physique, legs aren't really that important, but will balance out your entire physique. If you just want to fast lane yourself into getting an aesthetic physique, abs, neck, arms, shoulders, right? Chest, back, legs, those are equally important, and I hope you do train them, right? I hope you do train them, because they will balance out your physique, and you'll look quite weird if you train like for 2 years on, your neck, abs, shoulders, arms, but not your chest, back, and legs, right? You're just gonna look really weird. But those are of lesser priority. And so now that I've given you what muscles to target, how do you train them, right? How do you train the muscles? I'm going to give you a very bare bones model, a very bare bones program, right? It's going to be very simple, very easy to remember. What you're going to do is, for each muscle group, do 3 exercises of 3 sets of 6 to 12 reps 3 times a week. 3 exercises, 3 sets, 3 times a week. 3-3. The 3-3 model, alright? The triplet model. Whatever you want to call it, right? It's very simple, very easy to do. And so the third and final pillar is sleep. And if you want an aesthetic physique, you cannot disregard sleep. Your sleep is so crucial. Like, if you want to get an aesthetic physique, but you don't have good sleep, you will basically not get it. Sleep is that crucial, because it's during sleep when your body actually recovers, and therefore when your body builds muscles. If you don't have sleep, your body doesn't have time, or the time necessary to build muscles. So you aren't going to get a physique, or get the physique that you want. Alright, so sleep is so crucial, and that's the entire reason why it's an entire pillar. You want to get minimum 8 hours of sleep. Minimum. Right? I don't care about anyone who says, you just need 7 to 8 hours. No, fuck that. You want to get an aesthetic physique? You sleep 8 hours a day. Alright? You sleep 8 hours a day. Right? You do that. And furthermore, without proper sleep, you're hungrier. So you'll fare less when you're actually trying to lose weight. And I've already said, you won't be able to build muscle. And so there are additional tips, such as don't do any drugs, right? Especially alcohol. Alcohol just disrupts like everything. Like, if you want an aesthetic physique and you are drinking, you are actively down-regulating your efforts. You're actively making it harder for yourself. Same thing with weed. Same thing with so many drugs out there. Alright, just cut that shit out. Other things are taking multivitamin, right? This is, of course, assuming that you have vitamin deficiencies. If you do, take a multivitamin. If you don't do it. It should not be necessary if you are following everything in this video. You're eating whole foods, eating lots of vegetables, eating lots of animal protein. You should not need a multivitamin then. But you can still take one. Overall, if if these are extreme for you, if you feel like this entire video is too extreme for you, this guide is extreme because it's supposed to be simple, right? It's supposed to be very simple. In the title, it's supposed to be idiot proof, right? And two, if you absolutely do everything in this video, you will guarantee get an aesthetic physique. Right? You will get it. And overall, this guide provides no supplements, no bullshit, except for maybe multivitamin if you want to take it, but honestly, not needed whatsoever. It's simple and straight to the point, and it will get you the aesthetic physique that you want.